second. All right. Theme song in 3, 2. Second. All right. Theme song in 3, 2. And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Late Night Show. And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Late Night Show. Hey, I've got a monologue for you. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back. House Dems receive. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Hey, I've got a House Dems release emails. Convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein wrote to journalist Michael Wolff that House Dems receive. Hours. Wait a minute. Here we go. With one of Mr. House Dems release emails. Among notes, sex offender Epstein wrote. Of course, he knew journalist Michael Wolff that Donald. He also wrote, "If there's grass in the field, don't play ball." Victims. Among the notes, Epstein not to be outdone, the GOP-led House Oversight Committee released an additional. He also wrote, 20,000 grass in the field, don't play ball. The scariest part is Jeffrey Epstein's email. Not to be outdone, the GOP-led House Oversight Committee released an additional 20,000 pages of travel agent. The scariest part is Jeffrey Epstein's email was revealed to be JEEvacation@gmail. Writer Michael Wolff began one email to Epstein with the advice that you should let him hang himself. Uh-oh. I think Jeff took that message wrong. Writer Michael Wolff began one email to Epstein. The grandson of JFK, Jack Schlossberg, announced his run for Congress during an interview with the New York Times. I think Jeff took that message wrong. Bits of his life, including saying Sydney Sweeney's not hot. The grandson of JFK, Jack Schlossberg, announced his run for Congress during an interview with the New York Times. The fabled Kennedy curse doesn't just life, including saying Sydney Sweeney's not hot, having a crush on Janet Yellen, and how he eats. And finally, this week, scientists were able to recover RNA from a baby woolly mammoth's body. And at this moment in time, every serial murderer's ears perked up. And finally, this week, scientists were able to recover RNA from a baby woolly mammoth's body. And at this moment in time, every serial murderer's ears perked up. Shit. Welcome back in. Here we are. We are hurtling toward. And that's all the jokes I have for you. We're done with the jokes. Thanksgiving break. Shit. I don't have to do this show anymore. Welcome back in. Here we are. I enjoy this episode. We are hurtling toward Thanksgiving. I feel like those jokes are fine. I don't have to do this show anymore. All right, let's get into it. Just kidding. I enjoy this week this in Late Night 79. We had. Well, I should make some sort of jingle for that. I'm not going to. I feel like those jokes are fine. This week in Late Night. Let's get into it. We had this week in Late Night. We had almost winter time. People are coming out for their movies and their shows. This week in Late Night, but we had sometimes it's scattered. Sometimes again, it's almost winter Tonight time. Show. People are coming out for their movies and their shows. Jimmy had on people like Billy Bob Thornton, but it's sometimes it's scattered. Sometimes it's not. I don't know who these people are. On the Tonight Show, Aaron Veet. Jimmy had on people like Billy Bob Thornton. I'm sure there's some sort of and Broadway play. Chess. Yes, they perform. I don't know who these people are. Fine. Aaron Veet. Then Leah Michelle, the Tonight Show writers performed a sketch, which was really great. Broadway I think it was chess. Yes, just like the idea of the sketch was very funny. It also showed that then maybe the Tonight Show writers performed a sketch, which was really great. I confirmed my suspicions. Just like the idea of the sketch. But this is a Tonight Show on the street. Mac Hubel, the Tonight Show writers to interview workers on cuffing season, and the whole confirmed my suspicions to the sketch is that. But this is a Tonight Show on the street. Mac Hubel or Hubble attempts to interview New Yorkers on cuffing season, and they also did a freestyling with the Roots. Sketch is that, which again amazes me how this crowd. I think about this all the time. I'm not kidding. At least once a day. Because they also did a freestyling with the Roots, which again amazes me how at least once a day. I think about this all the time. I have this thought once a day because very true. I guess I watch the Tonight Show. I watch that we are so lucky that at least once a day to have such a talented team of people. I have this thought, and this is very true. Lauren as a producer. He's got Steve Higgins as we are so lucky. Fallon is so lucky to have. He also has the team of people surrounding him. His house band. He has Lauren as a producer. He's got Steve Higgins as a producer and Miles Teller was there. Hannah Berner was there. He also has the Roots as Ben Stiller was there. Brad Paisley was there. Peter Ravello performed some stand-up. Miles Teller was there. They also had Hannah Berner was there. Hardy performed. Ben Stiller was there. Matthew Reesley was there. And Peter Ravello performed some stand-up. They also had the Jonas Brothers, the Jonas Bros. Last night, I watched Matthew Reese, Asia Wilson, and Fiona Collins. The monologue, and it looks like the Jonas Brothers did the music morning. I watched just the monologue, and then I fast-forwarded all the way to the stand-up. Last night, I watched just the monologue, and on Late Night with Seth Meyers, I watched just the monologue, and then I fast forwarded all the way to the stand-up. Along with the closer looks, he also spoke to Michael Shannon, Elizabeth Olsen, Joel on Late Night with Seth Meyers, and Elle Fanning, as well as Dave Franco, Matthew Broderick, Callum Turner, along with the closer looks, he also spoke to Michael Shannon. We saw the return of Joel Seth Can't Tell, and finally Fanning. This crowd, as well as Dave Franco, Matthew Broderick, Callum Turner, I feel like usually with Jokes Seth Can't Tell, we saw the return of there's two camps. This crowd, people who are there was there's two camps when it comes to I feel like usually with Jokes Seth Can't Tell. Watch there's two camps, and then there's people who are there that there's two camps when it comes to Late Night Seth Meyers, all the weird stuff, people who want all the stuff that watch him do too esoteric care about. And then there's people for normal comedy, like that sketch they did, Jules, and all the weird stuff, all the stuff that's too esoteric. I believe that's what it's called. Normal comedy, like that sketch they did, Jules. Seth manifests a better world. Type in Late Night Jules. My gosh, it was such a good sketch. I believe that's what it does not have enough. Yes, just so funny. Seth manifests a better world. Also, I heard Elle Fanning on. It was such a good podcast. It does not have enough. Now I have to go to my. I don't have to, but views. Just so funny. Off Menu with Ed Gamble and James. Also, I heard Elle Fanning on. Speaking of which, I haven't watched the podcast. Taskmaster. Haven't seen the series. I don't have finale for series 20. Off Menu with Ed Gamble and James. I did see that they put out. Speaking of which, I haven't watched a tour of the set. Taskmaster. Have not seen the series. Finale for series 20. Next up, Jimmy Kimmel Live. So anyway, I did see that they put out Seth Meyers. I think it's so great. I was also watching a bunch of old sketches from Late Night with Seth Meyers. They used to do sketches, and this is I'll Jimmy Kimmel Live with Jimmy. Anyway, I love too. Fallon. I was also watching a bunch of sketches, and now they are Seth Meyers. They used to do sketches, and this is I'll get into this with Jimmy concerning Jimmy too on Tonight Show. Fallon, Mike still works there, but sometimes does sketches. And now they are. It's a little iffy on whether or not they do those, but now they're like. I feel as though they are hiring people. I don't know if Mike still works there, but just like it's a little iffy. They're hiring whether or not to write for this do those. But now they're like I feel as though they are hiring more sketch oriented with followers. And by sketch, I mean not the stuff, not like. But they're hiring people to write for this program. But it's this man on the street stuff that is more sketch rewritten. And by there's sketch, always a turn. I mean, fun. Not the stuff, not like ew. I enjoy Jimmy Fallon does, but I want them to do more. And stuff. In watching rewritten Seth Meyers, there's always a turn sketches from 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, 7 years ago even. I want them to do more. In watching. Seth Meyers, Late Night Seth Meyers sketches from the Game of Thrones 10 years ago, recaps, 8, 9, 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Seth brings Jon Snow to a dinner party. That's one of them. That's one of his most popular videos. Like the Boston accent Game trailer. Of Thrones recaps. I'm just scrolling through these, and they're in Jon Snow to a dinner party. That's one of them. That's one of his most popular videos. Boston accent trailer, Orphan Annie. I'm just scrolling through these, and they're in the top. And I would say that's popular sketch things. One of the most popular John Mulaney things. Growing Up from Orphan Annie. Even that was super early on. Game of Jones. And I would say that's less of a sketch. Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's boy. It's sad to see this John Mulaney. The Larry David stuff. 5 years ago when we knew Larry David sketches they did years ago. Game of Jones, Leslie Jones and Seth. That stuff is so fun, and but the reason why Larry David stuff do it anymore is Larry David sketches they did years ago. Takes too much time, And
that stuff is so
probably cost too much
fun.
money.
But the reason why they probably don't do it anymore
is because
to do stuff
takes too much time
outside the hours
and by and large probably costs too much money.
9 to 5.
And by too much money, I mean like they don't want to pay people to
on Jimmy Kimmel Live
to do stuff.
It was
outside the hours
supposed to be
of
80s week.
Probably 9
Jimmy
to 5.
Had 80s monologue style jokes. He dressed
on Jimmy Kimmel Live
style.
It was
suit. They had supposed to be
like
Carson's Tonight Show,
and
they interviewed George Clooney,
monologue style
Christopher
jokes.
Cross.
He dressed
played sailing,
and
Mike Tyson was
style
there.
Suit. They had
and then on
like Carson's Tonight
Day
Show.
2, in the
They
wee hours
interviewed
of the morning,
George Clooney,
band leader
Christopher
and
Cross,
best friend to Jimmy
played
Kimmel,
sailing.
best
and
friend
Mike
Tyson was there.
Subsequently,
And then on
Cleto
Day 2,
Escobedo III,
in the wee
passed
hours
away.
of the morning,
or the
band leader
and
best friend to Jimmy Kimmel, or he'd been sick for a long time. It'd been revealed.
And
Cleto
Escobedo
Jr.
apparently
he left the show months ago
passed
to
away and
get treatment for whatever it was that
he'd been sick for a long time.
It's been revealed
by his wife
and
articles.
kids. His father is still part of the show.
Left the show
and
months ago.
and his mother's part of the show.
Get treatment
somehow
for whatever it was
showing
that
up
was ailing
every
him
single
and,
day.
He survived
studio.
by his wife.
They still spoke with Morgan Fairchild.
His father is
and
still part of the
Eddie Murphy,
show in the band, and his
which
mother's
was
part of the
kind
show.
of,
Somehow just
This is
showing up
every single day.
It
wasn't a good interview.
They still
not
spoke
because
with
of
Morgan Fairchild
felt,
and
but
Eddie
because
Murphy.
of how Eddie Murphy is.
Which was kind of
just,
this
goodness.
is
And
the
audience. All they wanted to do was applaud.
it wasn't a good
Anyway.
interview, not because of how
but
Jimmy
it
felt,
was
but because of
it
how
was
Eddie
he
Murphy
gave
is.
a nice monologue
Just,
concerning
my
his
goodness.
friendship
And-
around with
and the
Cleto,
audience,
and
all they wanted to do was
it was just
applaud
nice to
things.
see.
Anyway.
You knew if you'd watched the
But
show.
it was
Jimmy mentioned
it was
countless
he
times
gave a
that his
nice
best friend is
monologue
Cleto.
concerning his
it's
friendship with
it stunk
Cleto
to
and
see that he
it was
was
just
sick
nice
and
to
passed
to-
away.
to
And
see. You knew
they
if you
took the
knew
next
if
2
you
nights
watched
off,
the show.
and
Jimmy mentioned
I
countless
believe
times
that they're still
his
on
best
schedule
friend
for
is
next
Cleto.
week,
So we'll see.
so it's
what happens with that.
stunk
But
to
it's
see
unfortunate
that
the rest of
he was
80s
sick
week
and passed
had to
away,
be
and
canceled.
Then they took the
and
next
it's
2
unfortunate
nights
that
off, and
Cleto passed away.
I believe that they're still on schedule for next week. So
Because
it would have been nice to see a little
what
theme.
what
week
happens
in
with
this.
that. But it's unfortunate the
hectic
rest of
time
80s
in
week
this hectic
had to be
period of the
canceled.
world.
And it's unfortunate that
Cleto
people are
passed
like,
away.
this crazy time we're living
It
in.
would have
The
been nice
most
to see
fucking
a little theme week in this
like grossly
hectic time in this hectic period
just
of the world. I hate
bland thing to say. This
I hate when people
blanket
are like
comment.
this crazy time.
Speaking
we're
of
living in,
shows
the most fucking
not airing full weeks,
like
there
grossly
was I watched
just bland thing to say.
Wednesday's
this blanket
episode
comment.
of The Late Show, thinking it was
Speaking of shows
Thursdays, but there
not
apparently
airing
was not
full
a Thursday
weeks,
episode
there
of,
was
Colbert's Late
I
Show.
watched and I don't believe there was
Wednesday's
any news
episode
about that.
of The Late Show, thinking
Maybe
it
he's
was
going to go down
Thursdays,
3 days a
but
week
there
and,
apparently was not a
like how
Thursday
Carson went to
episode of
1 day
Colbert's
or
Late
like
Show.
that.
And
Carson went to 4 days.
Any
Excuse me,
news
just
about
gave Monday
that.
up.
Maybe he's going to go
guest
down
host.
3 days a week, and like
I,
how
you know,
Carson
as we
Carson
march
went to 4 days a
toward
week, excuse me,
the end of
just gave
Colbert's
Monday
tenure
up
on the Late Show,
to
it has just gotten
guest
to
host.
a point where,
And
and this happens with Jimmy Kimmel Live, too.
as we
The
come
audience
as
is
we
there just to
march
be rowdy
toward
and to make noise.
the
And
end
it
of
feels
Colbert's
like
tenure on the
watching
later
later
seasons
It has
of
just gotten to
Married
a
with
point
Children.
where,
and
and
what I hate
this
about
happens with
Married
Jimmy
with
Kimmel,
Children,
where
too.
the
audience
is
has
there just to
starts
be rowdy
whooping
and to
and
make
hollering.
noise.
And
And
it
it
feels
feels
like
like
watching
watching
later
later
seasons
seasons
of
of, like, hey,
Married
you're
with
there to
Children.
work out.
And
I
it's-
understand
and it's
you're
what I
excited.
hate
I
about
understand
Married
you're
with Children,
creative
where
for a social
the
relationship,
audience has
but
just starts whooping and hollering.
and
Same shit I hate
and the
about Peloton.
instructors feed into it too, so it really pisses
hey,
me
you're
off.
there
but,
to work out.
Hey, I understand
You're
you're
there to work out.
excited. I understand you've
Just
created
do
a
that.
social relationship, but
Anyway, and
so
and,
that
and
and
the
you know all that
instructors
to
feed
say
into it
you
too,
know,
so it
ha-
really
it's
pisses me
on,
off.
on
but
Kimmel.
hey,
The audience
you're
is
there to
started
work out.
cheering Jimmy,
Just do
which
that.
is so frustrating.
Anyway, and
So
and
that's
for-
you know all that to say is
especially in the
it
past
on
like, few
on
years,
Kimmel,
the Late
the
Show
audience
for
has started
Colbert
cheering
has just been-
Jimmy, which is everything he says. They cheer and applaud
and
after. And I'm sure half of it comes from especially in the past like few signs. But the Late Show, we can't train people to clap after something that's funny.
Everything he says,
that's funny.
they
because
cheer
that
and
then you
applaud after.
become And I'm sure half of it comes from the make fun of every day. That style of comedian, we can't train people to clap after something that's funny. They have to laugh after something that's funny, because then you become. They'll say something what you shouldn't be saying. They them, and then people start clapping in the audience. The Bill Maher, it's clapter. It's an evil. Those right wing comedians who they'll say something. Like, you shouldn't be saying. So for his short week, Colbert had Ken Burns. He also did his Sound Clapters, which is fun. Demi Moore was there. Jim Clyburn popped up for an interview. Claire so Danes, for his short week, Colbert had Ken Burns. He also did a Sound of Science, which is something fun. Demi Moore was there. They also did Jim Clyburn popped up for an interview. Claire Danes. Pete Townsend got a nice long. I think this. And people are going to disagree. Oh, and they also did Cybergasm. Water from Your Eyes performed. It looks like was there too. I think people are going to disagree. I think this. And people are going to disagree. Colbert's writers are so old. Water from Your Eyes performed. It just seems like I think people are going to disagree. And whoever writes the monologue, I assume it's Colbert. He's not doing a good job. Colbert's writers are so old. People complain about fouling. And it just seems like they're out of touch. And I'm sure there's not. Whoever writes the monologue, people don't watch. I assume it's late night. It's not a time like I do. It just. And have anything to people complain about, but it's just. But it's just unfunny. And I'm sure there's not like sitting there. People don't watch to a crowd night all the time like I do. And after have anything to Colbert said something, but man, it's just not even mildly entertaining. It's just unfunny. Now, on the Daily Show, Jon Stewart sat down with he talked about after how the Democrats Colbert said something shut down. Not even mildly entertaining. He spoke to on the Daily Show, Jon Stewart. Chris Deluzio and he talked about Ryan. So here's the thing: I took a nap, shut down earlier this afternoon, and I woke up and my contacts were gunky. Representatives Chris Deluzio. As soon as I did that, Pat Ryan. So here's the thing: I took a nap. I don't want to wear my glasses because they are old. I woke up and my contacts were so old. I took them off, but I can't afford to. And as soon as I did that, to get new ones, I can't afford to get new ones. So I don't want to wear my glasses because they are old as to put. They are so old, but I can't afford to fix them. Or contacts cost so much money that I put these in the case. So I decided these are one of these to put the and I won't tell you how long I've been wearing them for because they're my last pair. And contacts cost so much money. And then my good friend Josh Johnson hosted the rest of the week. He spoke to Rob Riggle and Jay Jordan and Miguel. I saw a video of Jay Jordan. My good friend Josh Johnson on Instagram, just out of nowhere, the rest of the week, he spoke to Rob Riggle talking about Jay Jordan. How he doesn't think I saw a video of Jay Jordan. I'm putting it in quotes. Comedians just make fun of people and are cruel talking for no about, and I could not have agreed with him. He doesn't think it's funny. I love this clip. I forgot. I'm putting it in quotes. What comedians make fun of people, and he's like, I don't like how Drewski makes fun of. And I could not have agreed with him. Abled, I loved this clip. I forgot. I was like, yeah, he was on a podcast or an interview. There's a cruelty aspect to comedy. I don't like how Drewski makes fun of people who are differently abled and straight up this and that. And it's not like I was like, yeah. And I will veer from cruelty aspect to comedy now that everybody just is straight up be made fun of. And it's not like and I will veer from Jay. Like that's where I think that's how I feel everybody. But yeah, is able to be made fun of. People, but you don't need to like. Are you becoming cruel? Or you're just doing just to be mean? Like that's or because that's how I feel in the situation. But mentally, that's something to think about. People, you don't need to. It wasn't normal. Like make fun. And then Nick Offerman also did an opinion piece or because they are mentally. On Last Week Tonight, John Oliver spoke about felony murder. Normal anyway. And then Nick Offerman also did an opinion piece, which was great. I linked a great piece on Last Week Tonight. John Oliver spoke about felony and he wrote about Cleto Escobedo III. Again, it's a sad situation. I linked a great piece from Ethan Shanfield. You should feel for his family, feel for Jimmy. And he wrote about they've been friends for Cleto Escobedo since he was 50 years. Excuse me, since he was 9. It's a sad situation. Wow, it's crazy. it's you should feel for his family.
And then the main story
they've been friends for
is Have I Got News for You? Have I Got News for You? Ended its season last week. It's I guess fall season.
And then the main story
for today ended its Have I Got News for You? Have I Got News for You? Ended its season.
I pressed a button
last week.
It's made things disappear. Okay.
And it was it's a show I enjoy. It's a show I did last week.
Very funny.
And it stars Roy Wood Jr.
Made things disappear. Okay.
And it was it's a show I enjoy.
And it's a show I think is very funny.
He's like the main. It stars Roy Wood Jr. And then Amber Ruffin is there with a guest,
but it stars Roy Wood
Jr.
Black is there.
And then
the last week's guest had
he's like the main
host,
Hagel,
I guess. Amber Ruffin's writing
and then
partner
Amber
Ruffin
is there
on Late Night
with a guest, and
Beaumonty
Jones
with a guest. And this week's the
show. If you don't know, the show is a panel style show where Roy, Amber,
Late Night with
Michael, and then two guests,
and Beaumonty
usually
Jones,
someone and.
It's
the show, if you don't know the show, is a panel style someone where is Roy, Amber,
in pop culture,
Michael, and then another person who
usually
is
someone
who has worked in the government
or as a journalist or something like
that.
I don't want to put it that way, but
someone.
And there's like different combinations of that. Sometimes it's two funny
in
people,
pop culture,
like it is.
And then another person who is
sometimes it's two
who has worked in the government or as a journalist or something like that.
Work in Trump's cabinet,
and the other one used to be.
There's like a different combinations of that. Sometimes it's two funny people, like it is in this last episode. Sometimes it's two people who
it's a great show. I can't
work in Trump's
really
say
much about it because all it is a panel show, and they do jokes about the news. It is built off. It's a great show. I can't
British show
really say
and that
much
show
about it because
goes on.
All it is a panel show.
Pretty much throughout the year.
Jokes. I think
the news of the week,
and with
it is built off of
introduced
a podcast edition of the show,
British show.
I Got News for Your Ears,
and that show goes on pretty much throughout the year. I think the thing about How I Got News for You, the British one, is that
the show
called
Have I
what
Got
I
News
think
for
it
Your
is
Ears, that's
is it runs
two of the producers
pretty much. The thing about How I Got News for You, the British one,
season
is
70, episode 6.
What I think
so it seems to me like they take breaks every
runs
couple of weeks or so.
Pretty much
season 70, episode 1 was a month
every
ago.
week for.
Season 70, episode 6.
So it seems to me like they take
3, 4,
breaks
5,
every couple of weeks or so.
69,
9. Okay, so they do it in 10 episode increments, and and then they come back.
Looks like 3, 4, 5, 6.
Every few months.
69.
What I like about
so
this show, they do it in 10 episode increments.
Have I Got News for You UK
and
YouTube channel,
which is official,
and you can go to the YouTube channel and watch
every few
episodes.
Months. From what I like about this show, I'm going to pull.
They used to do extended episodes as you see
Have I Got News for You,
Roy Wood Jr.
YouTube channel,
which is official, and you can go to the YouTube channel and watch.
And there's an extended one,
episodes
from.
They
used to do extended episodes as you see.
Anyway.
Roy Wood Jr.
What's different about the UK version of the show is that
there's
30 minutes,
and then there's an extended one that's 45,
and that's pretty fun.
So they have
Roy Wood Jr. They have Richard Ayoade. They have
what's different about the UK version of the show is that there's
I just scrolled down and see somebody I did not know,
and that's
I wanted to be
different
to say somebody else.
Roy Wood Jr.
They have Richard Ayoade,
and that's fun. I really think that is a very fun.
I just scrolled down and see somebody I did not know.
It looks like they do 2 seasons.
I wanted to be different and say somebody else.
They have
I Got News for You?
Essentially,
and that's fun.
I really think that is a very
20
fun
episodes
thing.
a year.
Oh, it doesn't look like they run constantly.
So 10 in the spring, 10 in the fall.
Too. I think the show is very funny.
Have I Got News for You?
There can be
essentially
in having the show run
for more than
20 episodes a year.
It's at a time. It's
10
very
in the spring, 10
interesting,
in the fall.
and
I think the show is very funny.
I think
that there can be something in having the show run
for more than 10
comedy.
episodes.
Now the thing about this show is that it runs on CNN.
It's very interesting.
They clip it for.
It's quite a.
I'm going to go back to the YouTube channel.
A palette to Have I Got News for You US YouTube channel.
Political comedy.
Now the thing about this show is that it runs
as
on
they
CNN.
should. They clip out
like
20 minutes
at a time and upload episodes.
And it's great. It's like just like last week tonight. You're not missing much. You're only missing
and as they should. They clip out like 20 minutes. I like it. I like it. I like how they do this, and it's the social media, like just like last week tonight. Really, you're not missing much. You're only missing the show. The show clips themselves get ends there, a lot of views. A quarter million. I like it. I like how they do this, and which the social media aspect is really good. Especially the show airs on CNN get on Saturday nights, a lot of views, a quarter million. So there shouldn't. I'm glad it to me. Fantastic. For it seems as though as that there's not, especially large expectations. It airs on CNN. I believe on Saturday nights. They also air an old. So there shouldn't. The previous I'm glad episode to me on the outside. It seems as though as that there's not. HBO's large expectations because I believe so they have they also air an old like comedy based previous night's episode of one is actually funny and one is hosted by Bill Maher. They have these two comedy based shows Real Time with Bill Maher. So they have these are able to do comedy based shows just enough for CNN. One is actually funny and one is hosted by Bill Maher. They have these two comedy based shows that I think it's just are able to do. I've checked out clips of the podcast just enough for CNN, a cable news network, and bring in some extra. I can't listen to everything. I think it's a wonderful show. I've checked out clips of the podcast, but it's a fun show. I have no and another podcast. If you are interested, the UK version is very funny as well. I want to see, and the games are very silly. The games are very silly. That they especially if you are interested, where they show clips. The UK version is news very funny adjacent things, the games are very silly. The games are very silly. Especially the one up top. What's happening? They show clips and how they relate to the news and news adjacent things. But Roy does a fantastic job in the show. Michael Ian Black loves to push buttons. What's happening in the clips and how they relate to the state, big story, and sometimes they'll throw you a big curveball. But Roy does a fantastic job in the show. Who he is and how he operates. Amber Ruffin is great and silly and very funny, and it's just nice to see. Then you should. Three comedy people. Exactly. Most of who he is and how he operates. Amber Ruffin is great and silly. People who work in the government are very funny, and it's just nice to see. Who aren't funny at all. Three comedy people can barely get most of the time. Words interact with. Two people who work in the government or work in a different part of media who aren't funny at all. So funny, and can barely get in words. Who chimes in every so often. I think Kara Swisher was on a couple weeks. And Amber's hair is fantastic. It changes pretty much every episode, and she looks great. Watch someone just sit there. Who chimes in every so check it out. Check out these clips of Have I Got News for You. Amber's hair, I do think is fantastic. It changes. Pretty much every episode, that could be a problem. And you can watch the show on HBO Max. You can also watch it on the CNN. So check it out. Check out these clips of Have I Got News for You. I do think the problem with U.S. See, that could be a problem. And you can watch the show on HBO. Sometimes they change. You can also watch it on the CNN, and it ruins what the show originally was. Like the problem with U.S. and then remakes of other times British shows is they change. Sometimes they change too much. That they become ruins what the show originally was, like the American Taskmaster original, and then the other times they change. I even think season 9 is better. They become their own thing. I even think the paper is better than American Office, and they become better than the original. The original had no chance. But Have I Got News for You? I think they could. I even think season 9 is better than the original. I even think the paper is better than the original. They could do 5 more episodes right now, and I'd be satisfied. But Have I Got News for You? Right, I think I'm done. Listen, go watch the show. I think they could do. If you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com where you can see a majority of the things right now. Done. If you want to see a video version of this show, as well as LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast. Go watch the show. And if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com where you can see a majority. Go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. If you want to see a video, also watch me talk to famous people. LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, under a show called The Interviews. This week we had Tiffany Haddish. Go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy where you can also watch. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on the social media under a show called TikTok and Instagram at cpluscomedy. This week we had Tiffany Haddish. Thank you so much for listening. She's talking about her new Peacock docu-series. Check that out. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on the social media, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram at C+Comedy. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.